Good Sunday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. In today's weather forecast, I will be talking about a huge cold blast that continues through the start of spring on Monday, March 20th, and then a west coast storm will bring heavy rain and heavy snow from today all the way through the middle of this upcoming week on Wednesday, and then a strong storm system will bring heavy rain, snow, and a possible widespread severe weather outbreak as we get into the end of this upcoming week. We'll go into those details later on in this video. But if you guys are not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on all of my daily weather forecast updates each and every morning at 9 a.m. on this channel. I cover southern Canada, the United States, and the tropics during tropical weather season. So definitely subscribe down below, and don't forget to press the like button, the thumbs up button. It helps to get all of this information out to as many people as possible, and I definitely appreciate all of the likes out there. And I wanted to give a shout out to Manamal Reacts. He's a very funny, very great guy here on YouTube. He does true crime, and definitely go subscribe now because he does a lot of this true crime throughout the week and sometimes even on the weekend as well. So definitely go check him out. I'll post the link to his channel down below in the description. But going into today's forecast, we have widespread freeze warnings across portions of North Texas from the DFW Metroplex all the way eastward to the Carolinas. So we definitely have the colder air pushing farther south toward the Gulf of Mexico as we go through this morning. And looking at those temperatures this morning, it is very cold. We have those 20s and 30s getting all the way south into northern Mississippi, northern portions of Alabama, and down into the Atlanta metro area as well. Even the DFW area here into Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas, we're down into the middle 30s as of this morning. And looking at the wind chills, this is the true bite in the air outside, especially as you go to the north. We're below zero with these wind chills, not only in the single digits below zero, but even teens below zero here into the eastern Dakotas, getting into western Minnesota, and maybe even as far south here as northern Iowa with some of those below zero wind chills as of this morning. And looking at the high temperatures this afternoon, we will rebound nicely across the middle of the country. We have some return flow in the low levels, some nice mass response with the winds out there. So I do think we're going to have temperatures respond in a nice way across Nebraska, southern portions of South Dakota, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, with a lot of these areas getting back into the 50s and 60s out there, and even some 30s and 40s farther off to the east across the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, and the Tennessee Valley today as well. Then going into early the work week here on Monday, start of spring, and it will feel like spring across the central and southern plains. A lot of these areas from Kansas, Missouri, and southward will see those 50s and those 60s, especially going into the day on Monday. But we also see a quiet pattern. So we have a strong high pressure system dominating our weather pattern over the eastern 2/3 of the country here on Sunday. Our next storm system is taking shape across the west coast here, and that's going to bring some flooding rain and more heavy snow across the Sierra Nevada mountains and the inner Mountain West going through the early portion of this week. And in fact, looking at the precipitable water anomalies, wherever you see the darker greens or the blue shaded colors here, that's where you start to see more of those heightened areas or enhanced areas of rainfall out there, and even snowfall as well, and even the moisture in the atmosphere. So you start to see that today on Sunday. That continues, but a little bit farther off to the east and southeast on Monday. It pushes across the Four Corners region, and it kind of shuts off some of the moisture at times across California and Nevada for Monday. But then our next strong system will move in as we go into Tuesday, and that will bring more heavy rain and heavy mountain snow for places like California, Nevada, Utah, and much of the desert southwest here into Arizona and New Mexico going into Tuesday and even Wednesday time frame. So let's track that here. Noontime today, we have the precipitation here mainly across northern portions of California, southwestern Oregon. The higher elevations will see snow. The lower elevations will be all rain, and that continues more or less through the evening hours tonight and actually spreading more to the north and east. So we'll continue to see that spread into Washington State, more in through portions of Oregon, Nevada, and portions of Utah as well as we get through this evening. Then as we go into Monday morning, this starts spring equinox, and this is March 20th, and we start to see more of this snow pushing farther inland across Idaho, western Wyoming, the Salt Lake City area there into Utah, and portions of western Colorado. And I can't even rule out a few snow showers down here into northern New Mexico as well. That continues throughout the day on Monday. And here's your total rainfall accumulation from now through early on this week on Tuesday, March 21st. 21st, and you see a lot of these areas here from coastal Washington down through western portions of Oregon and coastal California up here, especially in northwestern California. We'll start to see more 1 to 3 inch rainfall amounts here as we go through the next couple of days. And the snowfall will be piling up as well, especially here towards the Salt Lake City area and those higher elevations, western portions of Colorado and northwestern New Mexico, but especially the Sierra Nevadas down here will be piling up 1 to 3 feet or more worth of snow just going through that Tuesday, March 21st timeframe. So definitely some more heavy snow for the reservoirs out to the west here. That is definitely some good news to try and bust out of the drought. But as we go into Tuesday, our next system moves in. We start to see more coastal heavy rain for San Francisco, Santa Barbara, down here towards the southern portions of California, so like Los Angeles, San Diego, these areas, and then higher elevation snow farther inland across the Four Corners region. And looking at the rainfall amounts, so this is just Tuesday going into Wednesday now. This is March 21st and 22nd. Again, another 1 to 3 inches of rain is favored, mainly for coastal California here from San Francisco down through Santa Barbara and even portions of San Diego and Los Angeles here, getting those heavier rainfall amounts. But then we look at the snow. Another couple of feet of snow are possible here, especially into the central Sierra Nevadas just Tuesday into Wednesday. So we have 1 to 3 feet coming here the next 24 to 48 hours. And then early on to the middle of next week, we're going to see an additional 1 to 2 feet across those areas. So when it's all said and done, there could be a few areas seeing up to an additional 4 to 5 feet of snow here into the Sierra Nevadas going through the middle of this upcoming week. But then the system moves off to the east. So what will this do? Well, the response to this is it's going to bring a warm front farther to the north. So temperatures will be climbing here just to the south of that boundary, and we're going to see temperatures rising well through the 60s, 70s, and middle 80s potentially down here toward the Austin area, getting here into Fort Stockton, Texas, the Lubbock, Midland areas here as well, into the Panhandle, going to be warming up into the 80-degree mark on Wednesday. But we'll also see the Gulf of Mexico open for business. So all of this low-level moisture is going to be streaming northward in the form of dew points, and those dew points could be reaching 50 degrees as far north as western Illinois, mid-50s in Missouri, and even some 60s down here into the Arklatex region, including North Texas on Wednesday. So looking at this, a fairly significant trough will be moving through, diving all the way south to the Baja of California and Southern California there on Wednesday. And what this is going to do is we're going to see surface cyclogenesis right across the Front Range of the Rockies. A 999 millibar low pressure center will start to develop by early on Wednesday afternoon. But initially, the warm sector is going to be capped off. So what I mean by that is there's not going to be a lot of warm, moist air lifting up and creating clouds, which will actually create precipitation. We don't have a lot of that on Wednesday. So much of the warm sector will remain dry and just warm with those spring-like temperatures as that low pressure system starts to move in towards Nebraska. But that changes going into Thursday. So the Storm Prediction Center has this low-end threat for severe weather, but still a level 2 of 5, a slight risk across central and southeastern portions of Oklahoma, including the Oklahoma City, Tulsa regions, and then getting down especially into the northwest side of the DFW Metroplex over here toward Wichita Falls, Sherman, Texas, and then back off to the west. This could be expanding in the coming days, so we'll be tracking this. But again, the same setup. We have a stationary boundary or a warm front setting up here across the Ohio Valley and the Central Plains. To the north of there, we'll see cooler air. To the south, we'll see those warmer, moist, and unstable environment for those severe storms to develop. So we have temperatures in the 70s and pushing the 80-degree mark on Thursday, and you see those dew points again crashing in towards that frontal boundary. On the other side of that, it's very dry, cooler air. But on the southern side of this boundary, it's going to be very warm, very humid. You can feel the stickiness in the air, and that's with the dew points into the middle and perhaps even upper 60s on Thursday, and that will contribute to what we call CAPE, or convective available potential energy for thunderstorms. And another aspect of this is the kinematics. We have a lot of mid-level energy with the jet stream, the southwesterlies in the jet stream moving in across the southern and central plains and on up over top of that ridge here into portions of the Ohio Valley on Thursday. And looking at the low-level jet, it's still pretty formidable. A moderate low-level jet moving over this area as well will promote the chance for some rotating thunderstorms. So on Thursday at 1 o'clock, maybe a few showers, maybe an isolated thunderstorm or two from Missouri back toward portions of the Oklahoma City area, Norman, Oklahoma there at 1 o'clock. But then we start to see that front become a little bit more active here after the evening time frame, toward the midnight 1 a.m. time frame here. We're going to start to see a lot more storms develop, especially down here in North Texas and Oklahoma. These ones could be severe, so damaging winds, large hail, and possibly a couple spin-up tornadoes even well after dark. But then a heavy rain setup here is more concerning for the St. Louis area, Springfield, Illinois, getting down toward Carbondale, Illinois, Indianapolis, even over here into Columbus, Ohio. That continues more or less through the morning hours on Friday. So this is 7 a.m. And again, the training of the rainfall and the thunderstorms over the same areas will kind of prolong this flooding threat here going into Friday morning across the Ohio Valley, from Ohio to Indiana, western Kentucky, getting down here to northeastern Arkansas there. And then on Friday, the southern side of that. So we have the flooding threat to the north there in the Ohio Valley, but the severe weather threat will be farther south. So now we're talking about middle and western Tennessee, including the Music City there in Nashville, farther south into Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and eastern Arkansas there. That does include the Birmingham, Tuscaloosa regions, Jackson, Mississippi, up here toward Tupelo, and then back here in toward the Baton Rouge region in towards Louisiana on Friday. And this could end up being a pretty more interesting day for severe weather. So again, the same setup. We have a stationary boundary here. To the south of that, we got the warmer air with temperatures in the 70s and 80s, maybe, just maybe pushing 90 down here somewhere into Florida or even coastal Georgia there by Friday afternoon. But look at all the moisture that streams northward here. With quick access to the Gulf of Mexico, dew points will be rising into the 60s out there, and perhaps even a couple 70-degree dew points down here toward the Houston area and getting in toward the Beaumont region in towards coastal Texas on Friday. But that significant shortwave trough will be pushing eastward. So we have a lot of these mid-level winds moving in out of the southwest over top of all this energy and this moist, warm air. And the low-level jet will actually be stronger on Friday. So that's why I think the Friday setup for severe weather is more concerning, because we'll already have a line of storms pushing through by 1 o'clock in the afternoon across the Memphis region, just west of Jackson, Mississippi, getting down through the Baton Rouge region, and perhaps down toward Houston. That propagates farther to the east, so we'll have more of a widespread damaging wind, large hail threat. But we do have to watch out for a couple of isolated supercells that develop ahead of the main line or along the leading edge of the main line on Friday to produce those QLCS tornadoes, or just some isolated supercellular tornadoes there by Friday evening. Then again, well after dark, we could start to see more heavy rain and some stronger damaging winds rushing down from the downdraft in those thunderstorms even after midnight moving into Saturday, and that will start to quiet down here as the instability wanes by the time we get towards Saturday morning. You do notice some snow up to the north. We'll talk about that here in just a moment, but looking at the heavy rainfall threat, we're going to see some pretty heavy rainfall totals. So this is Thursday, March 23rd into Friday, March 24th here. Central Ohio getting down here into central portions of Indianapolis, into Indiana toward Indianapolis, southern portions of Illinois, getting into southern Missouri, and even northeastern portions there of Oklahoma. Any one of those areas could be seeing at least 2 inches, if not 3 inches of rain, and that's why we have a slight risk for flash flooding here by the Weather Prediction Center, forecasting this from western portions of Ohio, getting through Indiana there into southern Indiana, southern Illinois, western Kentucky, getting through the foothills here of Missouri, getting down into north central Arkansas and eastern Oklahoma Thursday into Friday. But then all the heavy rain and severe weather pushes east on Friday, so we have a widespread zone here from western New York State, western portions of Pennsylvania, including the Pittsburgh region now, getting down here toward portions of the Gulf Coast with those 1 to 2 inch rainfall amounts again, and some of these areas will be hit again going in throughout the Friday time frame. But now we look at the snow potential to the north. It's not going to be an all-out winter storm. We're not expecting significant snowfall totals, but just a quick look at the ensemble members numbers for what they are showing here this far out with the snow. A good 1 to 3 inches could be a good bet, at least a good starting point for snow accumulations here into western UP of Michigan, northern Wisconsin, portions of the Twin Cities that just have relentless snow all winter, and that continues back into eastern portions of South Dakota on the GEFS ensemble guidance. But the Canadian ensemble guidance, the CMCE, we do see a little bit lighter totals. So we see more of around 1 inch to 2 inches up here, with the heaviest amounts over Ontario, Canada, getting through portions of Lake Superior there into UP of Michigan and the Northwoods of Wisconsin on that guidance. So again, the trend is farther north with this. So we'll continue to watch that going in towards the late week time frame. But then the long range period going all the way from March 26th through the opening days there of April, it does look predominantly colder across the western 2/3 of the country, as yet again another trough will be sneaking in off the west coast and bringing more trouble to the middle of the country in the form of severe weather potentially into the last week in March, and that ridge will dampen down to the southeast and affect mainly the coastal regions of the East Coast and the immediate Gulf Coast going through the April 1st time frame. But it will be active, so much of the west coast will be above average with our precipitation, drier underneath that with a little bit of ridging at times across the desert southwest, including portions of Arizona, New Mexico, and West Texas there, maybe on up into Oklahoma and Kansas at times. But that active pattern will continue across the eastern 2/3 of the country as well, going through the opening days of April. So thank you guys so much for watching. I definitely appreciate it. Remember to like the video down below, leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new, and hit the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. Go check out Manamal Reacts, guys. He's a great true crime YouTube channel on there, and again, you guys will not regret it. Go subscribe now. I'll put the link in the description down below, and definitely go subscribe to him here. He does a lot of great work on there. Very funny, very great guy, so definitely go check that out here after this video. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great rest of your weekend.